So, Lianne, first of all, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And usually I start with a question, but to you, I need to tell you a secret. This podcast exists because of you. You are a key part of this. That's why we wanted you so badly here.
Why?
I will tell you the story. So in Madeira, it was raining. We didn't have anything ready, and I said, Lianne, can you come to the booth? We have a conversation. Then we did it with a lot of skaters after you. And then at the end of that day, I told Eller, I like this format. This is way better than just asking at the end of the race, how was the win? How was the race? So that was the day that we decided to start the podcast. So thank you for that.
No problem. No problem.
You are inspiring.
Well, happy I can be a bit.
And Lianne, before we talk about medals or race, tell us, who is Lianne and who are you when there is no race tomorrow?
Who is Lianne? Okay, well, I'm definitely a family person. I love to be around my family. I'm now in my parents' home as well. So that's definitely me. I like to hang out with friends, chill a bit, travel. I love to travel, but that's also part of being an inline skater. So I think that's kind of me. I'm creative. I like to watch series.
That's important. What kind of series you are watching right now?
Oh, what I'm watching right now? For the moment, not much, to be honest. I'm watching Tour de France. That's not really a series, but it's every day. So that's really nice to watch the Tour de France Femmes. That's what I'm watching currently, I guess.
And music? Are you into music?
I'm into music as well, but I don't really have like a really certain type of music. I think for me, I like to listen to Ed Sheeran. That's really like my favorite artist, but it's not like I'm only listening to him, for example. But
Lianne, one of the side projects we have is in the end of the season, the first season of this podcast, we will release a playlist with one music per skater. So everyone can listen. So everyone else already picked one song. So from Ed Sheeran, can you pick one?
From just picking one. Okay.
For the playlist, for the Speed Talks playlist.
Okay, but it's like literally not really does it need to be a song that you listen before a race or just one like?
One that Lianne van Loon likes.
Oh, okay, it's gonna be a random one then, I guess. But I like from Ed Sheeran, Bloodstream. It's like an old one, and I like it. But it's not really sports related, but
it's Lianne related, so it's True. More than okay. And Lianne, right now, apart from skating, what do you enjoy most about your life right now?
That's a difficult question. I guess
be ready for the podcast. This is not a usual.
No. I know. I guess what I already said before. I guess to traveling. Be around. Yeah, traveling and be around my family. To do things with my family and friends as well. I think that's what I'm mostly enjoying, and also that, like, besides that, the traveling. I really love to see new cultures, to see, to see new parts in the world. That's what I'm really enjoying about like my life right now.
Going into sports a little bit, what is your first real memory of skating? And it was inline skating or ice skating? The first memory.
My first memory. Okay. Well, Dutch. So for sure, I'm from ice and inline. So I started with both. So my first memory was I have in the city center, they always make a little ice rink. And I came there to like just enjoy. And then there were some trainers from the ice club from my hometown, from Gouda. And they saw me on ice skating and they were like, oh, you're actually probably pretty good. Maybe you should try like to do it as a real sport.
How old were you back then?
I think I was 6. I guess 6, yeah. And then it was already, I think, February, so kind of on the end, or January, I'm not sure. But then it was not possible to go on the ice anymore because the season was almost finished. And then they said, like, okay, but you can also do it in the summer, but then it's inline skating. And I had one of the few clubs already in Holland that did combine like both, also already on racing level. And then I started to do inline. So, and then actually I've always preferred inline skating, but it all started with
the ice ring on the market in Gouda.
Yep.
You already told today that family is important. One of the photos you shared after Cardano that I really enjoyed on a personal level was your mom and dad supporting you. So did they support you since the beginning in a competitive level, or saying just have fun, enjoy? How was the family environment on the early days?
They always were enjoy it, not uncompetitive at all. They were always saying like, enjoy it, you can do it as long as you like it. There was never pressure from them, or it was always like, just do just do what you love. And that's what they always said to me. And even more in Holland, like, we are a small country, so to go to training locations and to train in the regional selections when you got a bit older, like around 11 or 12 years old already, you need to drive very far. So you need to drive at least 1 hour.
I read that you went from Gouda to Utrecht to the team in Utrecht, the KTT, right?
Yeah, true. But that's on the ice. Like before that already, when you are around, I think, I'm not sure what the category is now. We call it the pupils. It's before the cadets. Mm-hmm. Then we went to regional selection for inline skating, because I was always a bit more talented in inline skating than I was in ice skating. So then I went there, but there was also already a lot of traveling, and my parents always needed to bring me there. So for them, it was also already 2 or 3 times a week driving 1 hour. So yeah, that's where already it started at 12 years old. Like, they needed to do that. Their life was basically bring me to training.
So Lianne, in terms of when you say that you decided to go to inline skating instead of ice skating, you didn't feel any pressure in terms of the people that surround you about the ice? Because normally, I think maybe, I don't know how it is in Netherlands, but if they prefer inline or ice, I think should be more ice. I don't know if I'm wrong. Yeah. But you didn't felt any pressure to choose one or another, or was only because you felt that is what is more important for you?
I think I always chose with my own way. I have always been like that, because I was one of the, well, there were more inline skaters for sure. That we had like a good age group in our country at the moment. But I always preferred inline way more. And I always really chose like what I loved to do. That's how I always chose for inline. And like the really turning point is because I think I always combined it till I was 19 years old. So in 2019 or 20, I think I really completely kind of said, okay, I fully go for inline. Before that, I kind of like did it at the same time. So I had a full inline season, a full ice season, and I was still like sprinter back then. So yeah.
Going back to your answer, I have a question. You said 2019, 2020, you definitely chose inline. That's pretty much COVID. What changed? What changed then?
Well, we have in Holland, we have like, I was already senior or neo senior, we call it in ice. And then Corona happened, so we weren't allowed to go to different ice rinks. It was kind of difficult sometimes to do, also to set your times for example, making it to nationals. So I was kind of a little bit stuck, because I couldn't really go to a good track to do good times to make it to to ice nationals and stuff like that. And then at some point I was like, okay, but then I just want to start doing inline, because I don't like to only train here in Utrecht in the cold. And so then I decided like, okay, I think I'm going to try to fully focus on inline, because we have one track in Holland that has a roof. It's still cold, but it has a roof. So you can skate there when it's raining or snowing or something like it. But that's in Heerenveen. So then I decided like I'm going to move from Gouda to Heerenveen, but not for ice. A bit, but not for ice. But mostly that I can skate in the winter. So that's a bit, why and how.
To skate in the off season.
Yeah, to skate in the winter, because otherwise it was for me almost not possible to do inline in the winter. because
I'm sorry for the question, Lianne, but you just said you didn't qualify for the nationals or the major event. Because we know that you are a competitive person. We see you racing every weekend. So did that affect you in any way? Or
well, actually, before COVID, I qualified. I was first year senior. We have like a really high level of ice skating in Holland, that's for sure. And also, like, I wanted to go for it for sure as well. Like, I was trying very hard, but the main thing was I didn't like it as much. So I was not then really enjoying to really fully commit to get better in ice skating, because I don't know, the joy I had doing inline, doing the races on inline. I like literally racing with other people. I really, really love that. And that's not what happens in like with ice skating. And I knew if I would want to get better in ice skating, I should focus more on ice. And that I didn't want to do. And then also Corona came, so it made it a bit more difficult to really focus like, well, to combine it and focus on ice. So then I was really like, okay, I'm going for the inline.
In both sports, when was the first time you went abroad to other country to have a international competition? I read Gross Gerau at 13, but was that the first one?
I think actually it was 2012 Oostende, Zandvoort. I guess that was my first one. I guess, and then every year I went there. That's the one main international. Well, international. It's like a couple hours away, just over the border. But that was my first one, and after that, I think it was Gross Gerau and Geisingen already, I guess.
Did it change anything in your mindset, going abroad, seeing other people, not just Dutch competitors? Did it change something on the teenager Lianne back then?
A lot. I was totally a different, well, not a different person, but sports person for sure, because I was sprinter when I was younger, and now I'm not a sprinter anymore. So I was always also like not really good as junior, so I was really there, just enjoying the racing, still enjoying now, by the way, but just in a different way, because I was really trying to finish the race and not really busy with trying. Well, I was not really busy with trying to win, but trying to keep up with everybody, because all the other countries were so good. So that was definitely different than now. That changed a lot.
So what did make it change was the part of not getting the results to be a sprinter to a long distance. What made the change or the switch?
It kind of happened on accident. I think it's now already a bit longer ago. I think my last year as like real sprinter was in 21. I still went to Euros as a sprinter. And then I went to Worlds as a long distance skater. So I really changed there. It was mostly because like I was a sprinter, but my start was not really fast. But I was fast, but not explosive enough on the starts and stuff like that. Then with my coach, we were just, okay, we're going to focus a bit more on the 1,000 meter, kind of like building a bit. And then because I was faster, I could keep up with the boys. And then I started doing that longer. So accidentally, I became better in long distance, but we didn't notice really, because in Holland, I wasn't that good because the races were a bit slower. So different hard in a kind of way. So then I was not good at all. But internationally, because I had more speed, I could actually keep up with the long distance people. And then it slowly changed a bit. Yeah, it was literally not really on purpose. It kind of happened. Still happy about it, but...
By the way, that 2021 that you were just saying, you were still a sprinter. It was my first ever speaker experience, and I was there, and I saw you winning a medal. I think you won a medal in Portugal that year.
Yeah, true.
A team. So Lianne, tell me something. I read somewhere. But I read, I don't want to lie to you, so I read a lot of stuff since yesterday about you and today, so it was my full weekend. But I read somewhere that you said that you were too nice on skates after a nice season.
Yeah.
I think I read that. What does nice means and what does that cost in a world-class peloton? Because you are on a world-class level right now.
Well, we have in the winter, like we didn't really talk about it yet, but in the winter I am doing marathons on ice. That is how I kind of get through my winter. And then you're also in a peloton, but you're on ice. You're on you need to be I don't know. You need to be less aggressive. You really need to. They're ice skaters, so they are not really used to inline peloton. We are used to skate on a little track with not a lot of space. So you actually really you need to be. I don't know. The moving on the track on the ice, it's really different. You a lot of people want more space. So at some point in the winter, you get used to that. So you're a bit more polite, and on the end of the winter, I always need to adjust a bit to the inline races again, because I really need to say in my head, okay, I need to be tough again, and I need to be be a bit more in inline race mode, and that's kind of the difference. The change I sometimes need to make. So sometimes I'm a bit too nice on the start.
And Lianne, for everyone that are watching us or hearing us on YouTube or Spotify, is there any way to physically train that? It's not. I don't want to call it aggressiveness. I want to call it the space. Plays around the peloton. Is there any way to train that? Any advice for younger skaters that are starting now?
I think because actually I'm not really the best in it, because I come from sprinting as a junior already, and I'm really feeling now that because I didn't skate much in a peloton when I was younger, because I was a sprinter, so I mostly did sprint distances. I really regret that now, because you learn the most when you're younger. That's the easiest to feel confident on skates, to feel confident in the pack. So I guess for everybody that wants to learn, race a lot, and because in training it's never going to be the same. So you need to do a lot of racing. You need to enjoy what you're racing, and also to learn not to be too scared and to know what you can do. So I think when you're younger and you really want to train it, just race.
When did you stop feeling, this is a very personal, but when did you stop feeling like I'm a Dutch skater trying to get my space on an international level, to start feeling like I belong here, this is my space, I want to win? Because that's a mind shift, and we know that happened, but when was it?
I guess actually also a bit when I changed from sprint to long distance, because when I changed, I almost immediately started to be a bit get better results, because I was like a sprinter, but not amazing. Sometimes I made it to a half final, but never a final. It was like, and when I started to do long distance, I started to get better results as well. I was like, oh, I actually can do it. I think I can actually get medals, and I think I actually can win. So the main shift was getting to long distance. And I think for me, the main moment that I really felt like, okay, I think I literally kind of belong in the international field was in Colombia in the World Championship. I did the marathon there, and there was a leading group, and I was in it, and I was like, oh, wow. I was really at the end really proud of myself that I did that. And that was the first time I really felt like I was not close in result wise. I was ninth, but I felt like, oh, if I did something differently, I actually could have maybe sprinted for a medal at a World Championship. And that was the first time I really thought, okay, it's possible. Yeah.
It changed. And then going back to Portugal, to Canelas 2021, where you just told me, and I didn't know that you were a sprinter.
Yeah.
And then 1 year later, in 2022, you actually won the marathon on the Euros.
True.
So how was that year? Because I'm not talking about Europeans itself, the year, because you were coming from a background of sprinting and sprinter training to winning the European title on a marathon.
Yeah, it was actually kind of crazy, because then if you take the year of 21, I went to Colombia and I did long distance there. I did the marathon there, so I already was like, oh, the marathon. I think I'm pretty good at that. I think so. I started to do some more international marathons. It was okay. It went good, and I knew I have a fast sprint. I can sprint really fast on a straight line. So I was improving on a lot of levels. It was going very quickly because I came from sprint. I didn't know what I could do. So the races that season, I think, I'm not really sure, but I think it was Lagos and the European Cup. I became, I think, second on the point. And there were some, like in the long distance, the results got better and better. And I was like, oh, okay, I think I can, maybe if I'm lucky, I can skate for medals at Euros. Like I was hoping if everything was going in the right way, maybe it would be possible. Yeah, but to be honest, that I would get European champion there. I wouldn't expect it at all. I had just one medal at Euros, and it was in a team sprint, like in the mixed team sprint. That's where I had the medal. For that, I was never close. So I really hoped it. I knew that I could maybe compete for a medal if everything would go right. But that I would get European champion. No, I didn't. I never thought it.
Did you felt an increase of pressure after the first European title? Did anything change in your life after that title in the races after? Meaning now I'm the target for the other skaters?
A little bit, I guess. I think a lot of people were like, oh, okay, she's a good sprinter, so maybe it's good to be in, like, behind her for a sprint. Or sometimes I noticed it a bit after the title, but not that much, because for me it was still it was one marathon. I was good. So after that, for sure, after some time, I felt in a marathon that, yeah, you sometimes feel that people want to be around you, or because they are like, okay, you're gonna do a good sprint or any, but it more increased the years after, because then I also became stronger and I started to do also more attacks in the marathon. So people also didn't want to miss the attacks, and then I felt a bit more that, yeah, that I had a different role in a marathon. Mm-hmm. That was but from the outside, no, like the pressure wasn't really there, because it was really kind of a surprise. The pressure, I think, came more after, the years after.
It was back then in 2022 that you moved from your local club to the double F team, right? It was around that time when you moved from sprinter to long distance.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess because we had the regional team, so I was skating in my regional suit. And then I think indeed after Colombia 2021, so that was around, like, for long distance, I changed double F. And from double F, I stayed there for 4 years. Yeah, I think 4 years.
Before Powerslide.
Yeah.
So can you explain a 42 kilometers inline marathon to someone who thinks is simply skate fast for an hour? How it is? Tell us.
Well, yeah, there's like a lot of people think, yeah, but you're just doing 42K, right? And then you do a sprint on the end. Yeah, well, no, not really. Sometimes, but most of the time, no. Yeah, you have some people that are not, like, really good in a sprint, so they want to try to be in a breakaway, so they try to do an attack. Some people don't want to be don't want to have a breakaway, so they chase it back. So the whole time you're actually attacking, and some people also want to be in the attack, or you have teammates that need to close it for the sprinters. So the whole time you're actually doing is like, you have a bit of the cat and the mouse. So the whole time you're attacking, chasing, and at some point, it can happen that you stay away because it's the right people. The pack let you go because everybody's like, okay, I have my right person in there. I have the right, so that the teams are, like, allowing it. But also it can be very hard, and that you try to attack so many times that at some point everybody gets tired, or the sprinters, because you also have sprinters that are really sprinters. They get tired, and then they, like, you kind of break the people, like, not break, but you know what I mean, like, they get tired, and then at some point you get away. So there's actually a lot happening in the 42K race. It's not just skating, it's really also being in a technical aspect to, like, really skate as a team as well. That's really important in a marathon.
One curiosity that we have is, in the first 10 minutes, people are somehow studying themselves all, because they start in the slow pace, but something are happening. I don't know what is in your mind on the first 10 minutes. Is only to be more relaxed, or you are somehow thinking about what you're going to do, see the positions of the other athletes? How it is this beginning of the race?
It really depends on what kind of race, because if you talked beforehand with your team, maybe you already had like, okay, I want to go hard from the start. It really depends on what your team tactic is. But mostly with the girls, the first couple minutes, it's a bit relaxed. Everybody is taking in their places. But for me, I'm mostly thinking like, okay, I don't want to be too much in the bunch. I want to be a bit having my space. I want to see if somebody is doing an attack from behind. I want to have my space to follow. So that's what I'm mostly the whole time busy with, to think in my head, okay, is there enough space around? That's mostly the first part, because it's a bit chaotic with the girls sometimes. So I want to have my space around me, that I'm not like closed off when something happens. I want to always be able to chase. So yeah, that's for sure the first 10 minutes. And it's also like kind of seeing a bit what the other teams are probably trying to do. So yeah, the first 10 minutes, it's most of the time with the girls. Yeah, it's crucial, but also not that nice to watch.
Yes. How much can a wheel choice can decide the race before it begins? Because you have to choose what are your options for the race. So how it does affect in terms of a marathon or other race, but principle the marathon.
It actually it matters a lot. Like when it's dry, it's mostly the wheel choice you prefer, and what you like the most. So then I think everybody's on the teams. They usually everyone is on the wheels they usually skate on. But I think from most, like when it could be raining, because it's an hour, so you need to watch the weather. You need to see, okay, it could be raining, or yeah, but there can be a chance. Then it's when it's really getting difficult. For example, I think we had a marathon like that in Shanghai. The whole time it said it's going to rain. We were not really sure, and it was not raining. So, but we were like, yeah, but it's saying it should rain now, but it's not raining, but probably it's gonna rain. So then everybody was on different wheels. So you saw like a lot of what happens in teams is that maybe some people decide, okay, you go on rain wheels, you go on wheels a bit in between, you go on dry.
You split the risks.
Yeah, you split the risk. So I think then for the marathon, the wheel choice is crucial, because you don't have the opportunity to switch in your race. So yeah, you need to divide. And at that time, I think, I'm not really sure, maybe I had one teammate, but I actually think I was alone that year. And then, yeah, what are you gonna do? So I chose like to take the intermediate wheel, a bit that could be good in the rain, that could be good on dry land. I took a bit in the intermediate, but yeah, it's kind of, then it's really crucial, because if it starts raining, then all the people with the dry wheels are like out, and you have the one with rain wheels. And if it's like dry, then the people on rain wheels get a hard time.
So you say that in terms of the team members makes a difference also in the race, in terms of all these parts, that when you can attack this part, the weather conditions, that's mainly important, right?
Yeah, it's I think team is the most important. Like I think for a marathon, if you win and you're with your team, it's always a team victory, because you have a couple of people that attack in the race. They try to make it hard, try to drop some people. And the other way, like sometimes when we have a sprint, you are going to try to line up as a team. So you really need your teammates in a marathon, even more when it's like a really big one, like Euros or Worlds, or like the Shanghai Marathon. Like when you have a big pack and there is like a bunch sprint, you need to have your team to get well placed, to make speed for you. So the team is crucial. And yeah, for when it's raining, even more, because like it's nice if you have at least one person that can finish the race on the right wheel.
So I have a question that it's a little bit personal. It's not personal. It's in terms of like a spoiler. What is your ideal final kilometer for you?
It really depends for sure what the circuit is. But normally I would say I want to have like not too much chaos. So yeah, it would be nice if I have my teammates in front of me. Like if I'm the sprinter, like if I'm the one that needs to do the final sprint, then I would love to have my teammates around me to make the speed and to really put me far. I don't know how much meters. It also depends on the circuit, the corners, and everything. But to bring me in as less chaos as possible, so you can really just have the space you can have speed without fighting everything in that way. I would that's my favorite one last kilometer.
You just replied to Elliot saying it depends on the race and on the circuit. I have a question for you. Do you rather skate on a perfectly plain circuit, or you like descending? You like climbing? What suits you better?
I like a circuit that's a bit challenging. I love to have some hill. I like going uphill a lot. The downhill a bit less though, but but yeah, if you go uphill, you need to go downhill anyway. But I like to have some climbs in it. But for me, also the most important is that there is enough space on the last straight, so you can go really wide. You don't have to fight too much, and have like a really good normal corner before that last straight. You don't want to have a too sharp one. That is what I really like. For the rest, it's nice if the asphalt is a bit okay. But yeah, for me, I would prefer having it a bit challenging, not too easy. But that's also because if I look in terms of in my national team, I'm like for Euros or Worlds, I'm not with a lot of people, so it's better if it's a bit of a tough circuit. So some people, like the sprinters, already drop, so there's more like getting more space. And yeah.
Now I have two challenges for you. So you need to go back in your mind to two specific races that I want to ask. The first one is 2024 on the Worlds. It was your first. I think you finished second.
Yeah.
And it was you were so close of the goal. How do you manage that? Because in one end you were it's second best in the world in a marathon. Yeah. In the other end, it was so close. How was it, and how do you manage that?
It was actually a really tough one, because for a long time it felt like I lost the gold. Like it was my first world medal, so I'm really like, okay, I'm proud of it. But I think the first months I was really like, yeah, I lost gold there, and I'm so sad about it, because yeah, I was the last 400 meters for sure I was leading. I am a person that likes to do a long sprint, and I was like really like, okay, I can do this. And then the last 100 meters, or I think 50 meters, I was, oh shit, I actually think I can do this. And then I think literally the last 3 meters I saw like all legs in like on the side of me, but I was already on the fronts for so long that I was getting really tired. So I just did like a split as big as I could. But then I saw that Luz Karim, her foot was in front of me. And when I crossed the finish line, like there are pictures that you see me like really like, but that was mostly like, shit, I almost won. Not that I was really too much. I was happy, but mostly like, really, I almost had it.
Of course.
Yeah, I almost had it. And after that, I had like a lot of emotions. I didn't know at that point also, because it was close with the line. So I was not sure if I got second or fourth. I didn't know. But the first thing I said, I think, to my parents when they were on the side, I said, like kind of a little bit crying even, I said, I almost had it. I almost had it. And then after, I had the medal, and it was nicer, and everything was sinking in, and it was nice. But the first emotion I had was, I'm sad.
We totally understand you, Lianne. but before those 400-meter sprint that you were leading, when did you thought, okay, I'm racing for a world medal?
Well, the marathon was actually, it wasn't that hard, so we were all together, but because of a lot of corners on the end, it got a bit messy. So a lot of people were like still changing, and I was like getting the right positions. I was following in that way. I wasn't a good train. So I was following the right people. And then I think on the last straight, it was really long. There was a corner, and then it was, I'm not sure, but it was very long straight, or almost a straight. And then somebody, I think that time I was not in Powerslide, I was in the left, and somebody of Powerslide was making speed. And I was like almost the perfect person behind that one. So I was like, oh, please keep going. This is perfect for me. So I think actually the last straight, I knew I would make a chance for a medal. And then I knew I went early, but I saw like when I'm sprinting, I always look and see like, oh, if the people behind me go, I need to be before them, even if it's a long sprint. Yeah. And then I noticed, I was like, I think I can do it. But then it's still a long time to go, and a lot of I'm not sure what all crossed my mind in those last couple seconds.
Do you think, and this is something that pops up now, do you think that all of those years until 2021, when you were sprinting and training for a sprinter, actually is helping you now saying, "Oh, I enjoy a very long sprint," or I don't mind taking it to the last sprint"? Do you think it's actually because we see your final sprint, and the second challenge is about a sprint that you did that amazed me. But before that, do you think that all of those years in sprinting world, it's actually helping you now finishing the races?
In a certain way, yes. I think mostly sometimes I'm thinking like if I should have done like long distance earlier, it would have benefited me. But in a way that I think as an inline skater, it's just really important to have a lot of speed. And I had a lot of speed because I was a sprinter, and I think in that way it benefits me to like that I already was used to skate on high speed. I already had the speed from the time that I was a sprinter. And then the first distance I was good at was like normal way. It was the marathon, because then it was like trying to hide as long as possible and try to sprint. That was the starting period of my long distance.
So now, Lianne, second challenge. I told you it was 2 for now because this episode will finish with a very funny one. But I want to share my screen. I hope you can see it. And my challenge for you is: can you describe us this last kilometer? Can you
Yeah.
You are way better than me as a speaker. Can you tell us what were you feeling? Who were you following? What was the tactic here?
Well, in the last sprint, we were in a little group, and I know we had the world champion of that year. And then it's what I said, like I was the whole time watching, I was in third place, and I knew she would be the one that would do a long sprint. So in that one, I was like, I need to be behind her, or at least the second one behind her. And then I was just watching behind me, like, okay, when are the others coming? How long can I wait to really go? And so I was just, she was making speed like she did at Worlds, and I was like, okay, I think I can, if I have the chance to come next to her, I can challenge her, I guess. So I was watching the whole time, okay, somebody coming from behind. And then I saw somebody, and I went out, and I just went full on the side of her, and I actually thought like, oh, I don't think I can manage. And then the last couple of meters, yeah, I passed her. It was crazy.
That's my question. That's why I wanted to go back to this moment.
Yeah.
What are you feeling then? Because it's not just winning a world skate stage, it's winning a world skate stage, the other side of the world, against the current world champion.
Yeah, it's for me, it was a perfect scenario. It was like there's a little group, but the only thing was they were all the last world champions from the last years, like Luz Karim, Viveros was there too. You have some, I'm not sure, but they were actually from all the years before. They were all the world champions were in that group. But there was also not a lot of other people, so it was directly sprinting against them, and they didn't have the teammates to help. So then, when I passed them, you could see my reaction after the finish. I was like, shit, what did I do? I literally did it. I think for me, that's my, it's the win I like the most, and I'm for sure the most proud of that one.
We were seeing from this side of the world, and I need to say this. So it was fun to see Bart coming back to inline and having a win in the men, and then shortly after you, and it was a full win for Powerslide. Is that changing after? Does that change anything? Because winning the marathon is amazing, but winning both Bart and you and the full Powerslide victory in Shanghai, does that change anything?
That was mostly, it was my first time racing for Powerslide. Oh, I did Madeira before, I guess. It was Madeira before. Yeah, yes. But then the real big race, like the World Skate Tour, my first one with Powerslide. And Powerslide has like a really big history, of course, like with winning. And so for sure, like when I joined Powerslide, I felt a bit of the pressure to, not that they said it to me though, not at all, but that was for myself. Because for myself, I wanted to do it like perfect. And then, when I won as well, and to start off the season with 2 big wins as a team, I think that was a good start of the season, also for the feeling in the team, and also it was just an amazing start, I guess, for the team.
Guide us to everyone. What does this change? Because you were already a top skater. We all knew you before, but then joining the most competitive team in the world, Powerslide, with as you just said, always used to win. I don't know how many Berlin in a row that Powerslide has right now with Felix and Bart. But did it change anything in kind of pressure, second in kind of support? Because now you are in a truly world team, and what does it change? Does it change to Lianne?
I think for me it was a good step because I was already for 4 years I was with Double F, and it was for me I think the best way to start because I wasn't that good before, and then they really helped me to get better and bring me to a certain level. And I think that for me Powerslide came on the right time to make for me the next step for also in racing to have for most of the time like have a different kind of team in racing, to really to have really the support, to really do like little step up the game with going to certain kind of races. So yeah, it changed a lot. I think Powerslide came for me on the right time to improve more for me on racing level, and yeah.
So, in terms of the Powerslide, how it handles in terms of team, do you have somehow team leaders that they are supposed to win the races, or how this works in terms of the winning of the races? I know that the team is help a lot between you, but in terms normally we notice some teams they have some team leaders, then the others only work for the team leaders. So how it works in Powerslide?
Kind of the same. For example, if you just have the track races, you also have the overall classification, so you keep that in mind as well. And then for every race, you make a plan, like what is the main goal, what do we want, who does need to be high in the overall, and on that way you kind of make a tactic. But you also need to be sharp to adjust because everything can happen in a race. Somebody could crash, something could happen. So you always need to be sure that you are also capable of having a change of plans. So it's kind of the same. Like normally, you make a plan, you work for a person or for two. It really depends. And in the marathon, it's the same. You always have like some people that are really like you can go in a breakaway. You are here for the sprint. So I think it's kind of the same as in every team. Yeah.
We just saw you very recently in Grosseto, doing an amazing work for Keily Delgado in the elimination race. So going a little bit further on another question, is that something that you decide when you are racing? You said, okay, I'm here. She has more chances to win than me. Let me work for her. Or that was already defined before because of the classification?
Sometimes you also speak in a race for sure. Like she can also say like, oh, I'm not feeling good, or but also the thing is like I know I can lead for a long time, and I know she's good in elimination, like finishing the last lap, like being like really fast, and so I had a lot of trust that she would win. And I know that my quality on the elimination is mostly like be on the front and lead as long as I can, and I know I can do that for a long time. So it's also what I actually like to do. I like to help, and I like to it's actually and that race actually we decided it in the race. At some point I asked her, are you feeling well? And she was like, yeah, I'm feeling good. I was like, okay, then now we're going to the front and I'm gonna lead as long as I can, because I knew from that point I probably could do it till the end. So then I was like, I guess that's because also if you're too far on the back, because we were just two in that elimination, if you're too far on the back, it's getting hard for both of you. You're kind of at some point sprinting or fighting for nothing. And then I was like, okay, I really think you can win, so I'm gonna give my all.
So Lianne, I will break one rule that I created for this podcast. It was and the elder said agree with my rule, and I will be the first one after we already recorded almost 10 episodes. I will break my own rule. So we have a rule. We want people to understand we are not a Portuguese podcast.
Okay.
we are trying to do our part for the sports, ice and inline. But I have because we were on the Powerslide chapter, I need to ask you, and because she already told me that she sees you as a mentor. So because you were joining Powerslide at the same time that Jessica Rodriguez from Portugal was joining Powerslide as well. She's way a little bit younger than you, and she told me she sees you and Kelly like a mentor. How is that actually international landscape and having such a huge amount of talent from everywhere in the world? You yourself, Kelly from South America, Jessica from Portugal. How is that different cultures, different mindsets, different age, all binding together to win races?
Oh, I really loved it actually. When the first race of the year, I was actually also in the hotel with Jessica, so I started to know her. She's a very sweet girl, that's for sure, and very talented as well. And then the races that followed, she was really like, she was, let's say, a quick learner, because she's not coming from a place that she was not really racing in a team. But I think from the first race she picked it up, and she was like amazing as a teammate. She was like doing the work she needed to do, but also like she, without being told what to do, she just did it. So like it's amazing to see like the young people we have in the team, like Maywen and Jessica, to really understand, like I don't know, to really see them grow. I think that's the most of the thing. Like, for example, I think Geising is a really nice one. When Jessica and Maywen both were in a breakaway on the points, and they become like first and second. That was amazing. I really loved that moment for me.
And it's nice to see that you are happy with your teammates. It's nice.
That's I think one of the nicest ones. I think, because it's good to see that they are so young. Not that I'm that old, but that they're so young, and that they and to see them win, for me, it's so nice, because they always want to work for the other ones, and to see them do it themselves, that's really nice. I love that. That's what you want in a team, right? That everybody gets their chances, and that they really take it, and to see them improve that fast. That's amazing.
And Lianne, before a small break from skates, I need to ask you something. What kind of fun definition you have to say that 3 marathons in 3 days is a fun thing to do? and to win? Can you explain me that?
Yeah, you mean the Dutch one?
Yes, the Dutch one that you won.
Oh,
I was tired just to I didn't watch the races. I just saw the results, because we had a Portuguese there, and I was watching the results every day. I was tired. Just seeing the classifications in the end of the day.
It's not that bad, actually. It's like we don't have full marathons, so you start with, I'm not sure, I think it was 21, then it's 26 and 32, I guess, something like that. But yeah, we are used to it. We are Dutch. We are doing marathons, like that's the thing we do. So no, it's actually really nice, and for me, it's really nice as a training, because sometimes a lot of people think like there are not a lot of Dutch inline skaters, but that's actually wrong. We have a lot of more, but they are on ice and doing marathons on ice. So for example, you have Marijke, Olympic champion on the Mastard. She's also an inliner, and she is doing those marathons. So a lot of the marathons in Holland are quite fun, because we actually have a bigger peloton than a lot of people think, because we have people that are not skating internationally, but doing marathons on ice, so they do it on inline, and that's what makes it kind of fun.
It's their off season, right? So they are inline skating as well, or just training. Inline. And you won. How did you feel after winning a 3 full day race? But do you want to share anything about the tactics for the last day?
Mostly it's the last one of the 3rd days, and because you have the marathon ice skaters, like I'm then the inline skater. So if somebody attacks at some point, a lot of people expect me to follow. So that's what I did the whole time. If somebody attacks, I just followed. I followed, and I shot the gaps and did that. And then because I have a bit more speed than the others. They're very, very strong, but because I'm an inline skater, I have a bit more speed.
Of course.
So for me, it was the most easy way to control the race, to be on the front the whole time. And if somebody attacked with my speed, I was just shutting the gap the whole time. I was doing this, and sometimes even jumping myself.
So Lianne, can you make us a tour about a normal day of training? What time you wake up and so on?
What time I wake up? Well, I'm most of the time training alone, so then I don't really have certain times that I need to be somewhere. But normally, It's more like I'm not really a morning person, so you don't see me on the bike really, really early or skates. Normally I try to be at 10. I want to around 10. I always want to start my training for sure. Can be sometimes a little bit later, but not too much because you always have your second training. I woke up. I make my breakfast. I start preparing. It's most of the time. It really depends, but I think most of the time it will be a bike ride or then I do a bike ride. I come back. I chill a bit. I have my lunch, and then you start preparing already for the second training most of the time. So I'm lucky that for now I can just focus on my training. So so I don't have for now like work next to it.
But you never train in group or only train in group with your team? How you make these kind of situations?
When I was a bit younger, I always trained in the group, but because we're in Holland, we don't have a lot of inline skaters. I started like the last 2 years, like some people around me also stopped with inline skating. So my best friend stopped, some other guys stopped. So the group became a bit smaller. And I have my coach, Manon Kamminga. I guess maybe you guys know her. I think the younger generation starts.
You just called us old guys, but we appreciate that. Thank you, Lianne.
Not at all. No. But I think the younger generation don't know her anymore because she stopped already some years ago. But she was a really good inline skater. She's my coach, so I'm training on her schedule, and that's also why I train a bit alone because you have some other groups, but I'm really trusting the program that she makes it for me. Not always train alone because when we have the Euros or Worlds, we train with the national team like twice a week or something, because Holland is not that big, so we can always travel to train with each other. So it depends really on the week or a period. But most of the time I train alone.
But you train normally only in Netherlands or in Belgium? I don't know if you train in other places.
No, I actually only train in most of the time in Holland. We have actually a couple good tracks, a lot more than people would think of. We have some good Vesmaco tracks in Holland. So you have one in Heerenveen. I train a lot when I'm there. But when I'm at my parents' house in Gouda, we have a good Vesmaco track in Rotterdam. So that's also a good place to train for me.
Where?
Next to the airport.
I spent most 50% of my work time in Rotterdam. Where is the track?
Literally next to the airport. If you see it on Google Maps and you have the lane of you know what I mean.
my fault.
And next to that, literally next to the lane, there is the inline track.
I need to reveal this. So the first time I sent a message to Lianne Elder and everyone watching was, I think, beginning of this year, because I was once again in a train between Utrecht and Den Haag, and I was seeing the roads, the very nice roads. I said, I want to skate here. I want to do this by skate. So I sent a message to Lianne, can you please tell me where I can buy skates in the Netherlands? I don't want to have mine from Portugal there. So it was nice, and I think I never saw a skating track in the Netherlands, but I think it's the country is amazing to skate in a recreational level, like my level, not your level.
It's like most of the thing that I normally don't really like. I really like mountains and stuff, and we don't have that. But for skating, it's nice. We have a lot of good roads with good asphalt I can train on. You didn't see them yet, but we have some tracks. We have some tracks actually. Always like in every region there is one.
So you couldn't work outside of skating, or you only do skating for life?
For the moment, I can only I can live from like the skating. So for the moment, I'm happy that I can do that, so I don't have to work now.
So what did you study in school?
Well, I started creative business. I almost finished it, but then I moved a lot between Heerenveen and Gouda, so it was a bit difficult with going the whole time to my school because it was in Utrecht. And I started living in Heerenveen, so that was a bit difficult. And then I continued it online, so still doing that for the moment, but not much, to be honest. But I can still finish it, but I continued it online.
And then describe to us what's your perfect go-to free day. So no training today. It's a full rest day. What is your...
Well, I'm really terrible at sitting still. So I will not be the whole day on the couch, because then I'm gonna start being restless, and I need to do something. So in the summer, I like to go to, we kind of have a nice lake, not that far. So that's a place I would probably go to, or maybe go somewhere, but not too much because it's still a rest day. But yeah, I like to do something. I want to at least enjoy my rest day. For sure, sometimes it's nice to stay on, like, watch series the whole day, but most of the time I want to do at least something. Yeah, so probably enjoy the sun.
I will keep it out of skates and sports for a little bit because I'm interested. And yeah, actually, I made a podcast with a friend, so I can actually ask the questions I'm interested to. So I want to understand, because I saw a couple of photos in Instagram, Lianne, about Green Planet and around the partnership with electric cars and sustainability and mobility, and that's something that I have a personal interest to. So can you tell us, how did that relationship start? Is that something you believe?
Well, it was, I think, a year ago, or maybe already a bit more. I kind of became in contact with them because they were searching for, like, an athlete that they could support. And then we started talking, and actually it clicked very well. Also because, yeah, sustainability, it's always, like, good. And electric cars, most of the time, it's also very, like, in Holland, it's very easy. You have a lot of places where you can charge your car. It's yeah, in Holland, it's perfect to drive. So yeah, that's how it a bit started. It's just like, and we also had this kind of the same, in a kind of a way, the same backgrounds, because when I was younger, my parents always had a car company. So yeah, we started talking, and it really took off very well. And then yeah, and most of the so that's like, it's a partnership I'm very proud of. Also, it's also like, the company is very good for the planet, Green Planet. And yeah.
And good for you, and meaning that good for you is good for sports, and we need more companies to support skaters like yourself and all the others that
yeah, for sure that's, yeah, and that way I'm sometimes kind of lucky that I'm also doing ice skating, because that's well known in Holland. So that also helps me sometimes for finding sponsorships, or that they want to support.
Yes, and everyone that's watching this from the Netherlands, please support Lianne and the others. Lianne, I never skate on ice, Lianne, so I don't know. I was a long distance skater. Ella was a short distance skater. Different generations between us, but I never skate on the ice. So I need to ask you, what's the difference on feel from natural ice, where you still race on the marathons in the Netherlands, in Holland, from the track ice? Does that change anything on the way you skate?
Yeah, it's changed actually a lot. On the natural ice, it's actually really funny, because we have a lot of inline skaters in the marathon pack, because a lot of people chose to do ice, but they all started also with inline. So when we are a marathon on natural ice, the people that do inline, they are actually better, because the technique you need to kind of have to skate on natural ice, it's kind of the same as inline, because you have, like, a lot of cracks, and you need to also be a bit, like, good with your agility to really find to avoid the cracks. And also I don't know, it's actually just a lot, well, not similar, but most of the times the inline skaters are better there. It's a lot different, and also, like, it's way harder.
And yeah, the ice skating world on the Netherlands, in Holland, we just saw in the last Olympics, it's in a very good position right now. But talking about inline now, how healthy is the inline skating environment in the Netherlands, with the clubs, the small skaters? Are we still getting new talent for the inline in the Netherlands?
Well, I think actually the talent, we have a lot. We have seen also that some younger skaters, they had medals at Euros this year, but the problem is the ice skating is taking them away very early. Like, when I was younger, they let us, like, do inline for a longer period, and now they take them away. Like, they really say, like, no, you shouldn't do inline, you need to do ice. And then they say, like, they are not allowed to do inline, like, from a very young age. So we have a lot of talents, but they just don't stay. They all do ice, and then they go to to the regional training groups for ice skating. And then they say like, no, it's not good to do inline in the summer, and it's dangerous, and it's not good for your technique and stuff like that. So it's just, we have the talent. It's hard to let them stay because, the thing is like inline is very big in the world. It's actually bigger than ice skating. But in our country, it's inline is just overshadowed by ice.
One thing that for me is strange, because you say that, and I listened from other skaters, that inline skate is more fun. So what somehow takes the other skates to go to on ice is about sponsors, more opportunities. What makes them to change?
For sure, the Olympics. Ice skating is Olympic, but also we have the commercial teams. We have big teams, and they earn money there. So if you end up in a commercial team, then if it's way better, because it's almost impossible to earn money when you're an inline skater in Holland. And it is possible to earn money if you're an ice skater. So that's why a lot of people, when they choose the path to try to be an ice skater, because there's more, there could be a better future.
So it's me.
Yeah.
so and then about the inline skating versus ice skating, Olympic, not Olympic. Do you think, I already asked this to a lot of skaters and coaches here on the podcast, different answers. Do you think we should chase the Olympic Games as a sport, or maybe just as a marathon race, because it's easier to be more commercial and more sellable as a marathon alone than the sport?
I think that's a difficult question, because it's we have seen it. I think with the Youth Olympics, there need to be a lot of changes to our original sports, because we have a lot of different medals. We have a lot of medals, and that's I think one of the biggest problems. Why, I'm not really sure with this, but I think it's also because we have a lot of medals. So they really there need to be really a lot of changes, and also we have more people, and they also don't want a lot of new people at the Olympics. So I think it's a bit, I think in one way it's better to only have the marathon, because it can stay the same as we originally have. I think that's good for the sport, but it wouldn't be fair for the sprinters. So that's kind of the way you're like, for me, make the marathon Olympic. But it's not fair for the sprinters, for sure. And how they did it in the Youth Olympics, it was also a bit different, because then it was kind of an all-round. So you had the sprint, the long distance, and all combined, and it was one medal. And that's not what we are as a sport, because we all have the different we have point races, we have sprints, and then if you start combining it, everybody need to start training differently. So then it's not really how our sport is anymore. So I think, or they need to choose maybe a sprint distance and maybe a long distance in that kind of way. But it would be sad if they need to change a lot about the sport to make it Olympic, because then it's not our sport anymore, I guess.
I agree with you. And one of the things that we are hearing now on the podcast is we have elder vision from the regie and from the streaming and the live streaming and the television perspective. Me, I'm just a former skater. I don't have anything to add, but we are asking coaches and we are asking skaters. I need to ask you this: if you need to give an advice to us how to make the sport easier for a casual audience to enjoy and understand our sport, what we as a sport should change so the sport is easier to understand?
I think already in kind of a way to get it broadcasted. I think sometimes it's in a really difficult way to find even the live stream. So I guess for sure in Portugal and Madeira, it's amazing. It's on YouTube, so it's good to find. It's here, so it's good to find. That's actually the first thing I would like to have on all the championships and races. It should be really easy to find, and maybe even that some people accidentally come across the live stream, and that I think is the best for now on YouTube. Like to really broadcast on TV, that's really different. Like this per country, it's different. Some countries have it sometimes, I guess, but in that way, some other ways I don't really. Yeah, for now, I already think that YouTube is the most accessible.
I agree with you. I have a personal story to tell you. So I was in the Netherlands for work, traveling all around the Netherlands that week during the Milan Cortina, the Olympics, and I was walking a lot between customers and appointments, and it was amazing. Every single cafe, every single home, people were dining with no windows or no curtains. Everyone was watching ice speed skating in the Olympics. Everyone, hours after hours after hours, people were actually watching ice skating, and I never saw this in Portugal with any sport, not football. So
yeah.
It could be amazing for us on the inline to have something like that.
I actually had it sometimes that the first time people watch it and they know ice skating, and the first time they watch inline skating, they are like, whoa, this is really cool. This is really an awesome sport to watch. I think everybody already thinks it's really amazing, and it's easy to, most of the time it's also easy to understand. So I think a lot of people actually would love it. If it's really broadcasted. It's something I think when you're on your TV and you're zapping and you see a race like this, that you're like maybe stopping it for a second, like, oh, this looks fun. So I think it could be the same for inline. But for in Holland, for the ice skating, it's besides football, like it's one of our it's our national sport. So when there is the Olympics and skating is on, even when I was younger in high school, the lesson just stopped and we were watching because it's just so, it's in our culture.
If World Skate told you tomorrow that you could keep only road or track the rest of your career, which one survives?
Oh no. I don't know.
Oh no.
Oh no. It's really difficult because I really like the marathon, for sure, and I think that's on the road. So,
but you like the emotion of the track, right? Also.
Yeah, and I really love the points race on the track. I like the 1,000-meter on the track. So I think actually for our sport, I would say keep the track, because that's what we are. I think our sports, that's our venue. That's what we do. That's our main thing of the sport, I guess. So I would say then for the sport, I would say track. For myself, I couldn't really choose, I guess.
I heard you say after the 2025, so last year 1,000 meters final, that the final at everything, positioning, defending, speed, all at once. Do you, as a long distance skater, do you enjoy 1,000 meters, because that's the mix of the both worlds, right? It's the sprinter world and the. Do you still enjoy the race?
Yes. Actually, since I was younger. When I was still a sprinter, and you always have the dream to be good, and you want to have one race. And I always felt when I was younger, I want to win the 1,000-meter, because that's when the sprinters and the long distance skaters come together, and that's when that's if you win that one, you win from those. That was my view when I was younger, and for now I still enjoy it, because it's still like you have the sprinters and you have the long distance skaters meeting in that distance. So I still enjoy it a lot.
Another thing, in terms, you remember that you did like the 500 meters team relay races, but suddenly disappear. What do you think about the type of race?
Actually, this year I mentioned it a lot of times with other people. I said to them, it's so sad that race is not there anymore, because I had a medal for sure, but it was so nice because especially because we did it in two ways. We have done it with that the man was starting and the woman was finishing, but we also had it in a way that you just did it with only girls or only men. But I actually really like the one when you have the mixed gender, because that's really nice. I think our sport is already, we are racing separately, but we do a lot together on the same events and everything. It's never really a lot divided, and it's really nice to then have one distance at least that it comes together. And I think that was like a really nice one, because you had the 300 meter of the sprinter guys, and then we were standing on the top of the corner, and it was actually a scary moment because then you see the big sprinter guys coming at you and giving you like the relay push. Yeah, but that's the distance. I'm really sad that actually it's not existing anymore, because they also, I think in Holland in 2013 they did the mixed relay as well. I'm not sure how, I was too young to really remember how it went, but something like that I think should come back.
But if we see, and you are making me think, the athletic worlds, they have now the relay, the 400-meter relay in the athletics. It's a mixed team between men's and women, and it's amazing because it joins everyone together.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of tactics about that. So as a fan of the sport, I think it's a shame if we stop it. Lianne, we are almost finishing, and we have a last segment that is the same for everyone. But before that, I need to ask you, what's the future goals for Lianne in our sport? What do you want to do that you still didn't do, or what do you want to repeat that you already done?
For sure, like I think it's easy question. I want to get world champion. That's the main goal, I guess. That's I guess for sure I want to be world champion one day. That's the goal.
And can you please promise on air that when you are world champion, we can have a new session of the Speed Talks for the next season?
Yeah, I will promise you. I will. I'm not sure when it's gonna happen, but yeah. I promise for sure.
Thank you, Lianne. So, last segment. Did you watch any episodes so far from our podcast?
Bits. I watched bits. Yeah, I watched bits of the one with Aura, but not everything.
Okay. So we have a rule for the end. Same for questions for everyone. No time to think. We don't care if you reply with one word or a full sentence, but are the same questions for everyone. And in the end of the season, we want to do a mashup of those answers. So, Elder, can I start?
Yes, can go. You can go.
Lianne, what does speed means to you?
A lot. For the moment, like I have my goals there. It's the main thing I'm focusing on right now. So I really enjoy it, and I will do it as long as I will enjoy it. That's what it means to me for the moment.
What happens in your head in the last seconds before the start?
Stress. I'm actually telling myself like kind of, oh, you can do it. Don't keep to the plan. It's like the last seconds before the race. There's a lot going on in my mind, and actually when the gun goes, it's all out of it, and you just starting. You know what you're gonna do.
What is the part that nobody sees, Lianne?
That's kind of the part of nobody sees. Yeah, that I think sometimes it can be a bit lonely. It may be a weird answer. But I'm training a lot alone. So at some point, you really need to push yourself to continue and really think, okay, I'm doing this for a reason. And I think sometimes that's not really the part that a lot of people know or see. But I think every sport has it in a kind of way.
So what do you tell to Lianne, who was skating in the market in Gouda?
I would say... you are allowed to dream big, because when I was younger, I sometimes was like, I'm not sure if I would be possible to, if I would be the one that can do it. And I started like the whole time when I got better, my goals kept going and going a bit further, because I was never the one that dared to dream big. But I think I would say you can dare to dream big.
Lianne, what did the Elder and I didn't ask you that we should have asked?
I don't know. You asked a lot, so it's good, I guess.
I think we did a good job this time. Lianne and Ella, before I close, thank you so much for joining us. I'm pretty sure that everyone will have a lot of fun listening to you, like we had talking to you.